Metaphysics is going to have to be the quote-unquote religion of tomorrow. If it isn't, you're fucked. Totally and absolutely.
What's cracking, everybody? Who's in here right now? I can't even tell who's in here.
I'm in here. I don't think Doobie's in here. The Doobster. Oh, the Doobster has arrived.
He's awakened.
He's awake. He's up.
There it is. Everybody's here. I'm assuming everybody had an awesome week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's been a lot going on this week. The internet's on fire as usual. A lot of craziness going on, and to keep it real, I was ready to start off with the Aries Spears fuckery, but as I got into that, I realized we was also going to talk some shit about Elvis because of our geniusly concocted one-man play that our brother Doobie introduced to us about having a one-man play about Elvis, about his last days. Of course, it would be handled with the utmost care and respect, called Elvis, The End Is Nigh. So I thought that would be a cool idea. We'll talk more about that later. But as I was looking up this trailer and everything, and because the new Elvis movie just came out recently, which I'm completely confused about. I really didn't think anybody cared about Elvis at this point. I haven't heard him being talked about or inserted into any conversations. Or it just kind of came out of nowhere. So I know Hollywood's...
He's a cult figure.
Yeah, he's definitely a cult figure for white folks who don't want to admit that he stole all of his music and he was a pedophile. But the thing is, well, allegedly. Well, no, he...
It's not alleged. Those were the days.
Yeah, the good old days for them, right? So as I started looking them up, I started realizing, so I'm seeing these articles and stuff like that. Elvis was 24 when he met Priscilla, and she was 14. He didn't marry her until he was 22, and she was 30. He was 32, and she was 22. But he met her when she was 14.
They were just hanging out.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure they was just chilling,
hanging out,
normal
playing hopscotch and shit.
Shenanigans.
They were talking about
grown
things.
Adults, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of 24-year-olds who hold deep and memorable, meaningful conversations with 14-year-old girls. I'm sure. Because girls mature so much faster. I'm sure she could really hold a great conversation.
They do. She was aware of current events. She had lots of interesting things to say. I think we're just being misogynistic assholes assuming that she had nothing interesting to bring to the table at 14.
You know what?
We're basically saying girls are stupid.
You know what? Maybe I did just reduce her to an underage sexual object. And
we did. We objectified her.
You're right. See, I'm over here talking shit, grandstanding about pedophiles, and here I am being a dinosaur, racist bigot for assuming that a 14-year-old can't be a great conversationalist for a 24-year-old man. You're absolutely right, and I accept the responsibility. I accept the responsibility. But since I was in that corner of the internet, I just started looking around at shit, and I'm like, I think this may be one of the reasons why somebody like Elvis got dug up and dusted off and handed to us in this new movie. He was one of the you see what I'm saying? You see where
original
I'm going with this?
groomers.
One of the original famous white male pedos. And the only reason I'm adding the color the white male pedo is because it seems to be some sort of a cult experience for white males in this country. We know that, well, historically anyway, I don't know about now, but historically, the brown man was never afforded, so many type of predilections. He couldn't really act this shit out in the world because everybody was looking for a reason to prove that he was a savage anyway. So the white guys seem to get away with it a lot. And not even really get away with it. They just ignore it. Like, it's not a big thing. Like, of course, Jerry Lee Lewis, we know he married his underage cousin. And there just seemed to be a lot of this shit going on around the time.
Woody Harrison?
But married.
Right,
they made honest women.
Not Woody Harrison. Woody
Allen.
Woody Allen.
Yeah, Woody Harrelson's the good Woody. So far.
Yeah.
We can't drag
Woody.
him. We can't drag him into this shit.
Wrong Woody. Sorry, Woody.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But
yeah, his was extraordinarily egregious because it was the adoptive daughter that he raised.
And that has to be the most recent, as of known, like as far as famous people sleeping with underage girls, right?
But we don't. But here's the thing: As we know, yeah. But we're assuming, and we're probably, because they had the long game in mind, right? This is, what do they call it? Red shirting? It was red. They're like, you're not ready now, but you'll be there. And I'm just going to be keeping an eye on you. We'll see how it goes. But let's just start hanging out and playing Connect 4 and talking about how your day went at school for now. And, until it's time. I guess maybe that was just a thing that, I don't know. People maybe, I guess, thought so little of women. It's like, listen, you're basically going to be making somebody's baby at some point anyway. I mean, we might as well get you in the game soon. And like I said, they were married. Right? Yeah. So they made honest women out of them. But I guess that was just the culturally accepted thing. You're gonna be married and fucking sooner or later. What's a couple of years? It
took Elvis 10 years of breaking her in and training before he actually married her. But he did marry her, so we got to give him some credit. Because him being the rock star that he was, I mean, he could have just, used her the whole time.
He could have groupied her. Yeah.
He could have just used her the whole time, and I don't think anybody would have cared. But he did marry her, so we got to give him at least a little bit of respect. Because I think if you marry her, even if she's underage, over time, you marry her, you have kids, and y'all actually stay together, I think that nullifies the pedophilia. Is that true, or it does? Right?
I think so. I think if you can hold a relationship together, then I guess you really were meant to be together, and this was just unfortunate timing on behalf of the universe.
Right, and it's totally not anybody else's business how this goes down, because we were meant to be. She was clearly my soulmate. It's just that we got our timing out of way.
That is kind of weird. That is kind of weird. I was like, well, you know what I mean. But I'm just saying, like, the fact that it's okay, everybody knows she's 14. Everybody knows he's obviously sleeping with her at this point. But is it okay since he married her?
Yeah, if they stay together, if they absolutely stay together, they form a strong bond, they have children. I'm pretty sure, I'm not positive, but I think that nullifies the pedophilia. Because you can't retroactively convict. If you catch him when he's 24 and she's 14, you get to beat him half to death on the way to the police station. Yeah. But if they end up at, he's 60 and she's 50 and they've been together the whole time, you can't retroactively convict him or be like, angry. He kept her and they stayed together. I mean, what can you really say at that point?
Well, wasn't that like a verse in the Bible? If you defile their women but marry them,
right?
Yeah.
Right. See, the marriage is what nullifies it, and especially if you stay together, then you. Okay, so if he's a pedophile and he marries her when she's of age, that makes it even. So it's just even. They're just a regular couple. But if they actually stay together for the life of the marriage and, die together old or something like that, then you, the bad guy, if you say something bad about him, then it's on you. Then you have to take the responsibility for being a dinosaur bigot. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes.
I'm confused. It almost sounds like what you're saying is anybody can fuck anybody at whatever age as long as you agree to stay with them. As long as you stay with them, it doesn't matter when the party starts.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's the message we want to put out there. I don't think that's.
We're not putting it out there. That's what's being shown to us.
I'm observing the parameters of what seems to be acceptable. I don't know. I'm just looking at these icons, these famous icons like Jerry Lee Lewis and Elvis Presley, and the path that they've laid before us. Woody, I almost said Harrelson again. Woody Allen, Woody Allen. The same. These guys are just
Howard something too. The famous rich guy in the '50s, which white guy? He was messing with little girls too. Leonardo DiCaprio played him in a movie.
Howard Hughes.
Yeah, the crazy
Howard
guy.
Hughes.
Howard Hughes.
Who used to wear like
and
Kleenex
Playboy
boxes.
Mansion. He was fucking little girls.
Okay. Speaking of him, okay. So as I'm looking all of this shit up, I think I had stumbled across this years ago when this conversation was. This conversation seems to come up every few years.
I don't know if I want to engage. This is just Nat Geo bashing. I don't know if I want to engage in this.
Nat Geo bashing. Wow, that's one way to look at it. So,
by the way, I watched
the Nat Geo feeding community.
I watched Goodbye Uncle Tom, and like the amount of titties that I saw, and I'm like, this can only be done in Nat Geo.
Yeah. Goodbye Uncle Tom. That's just hardcore. That's just
even I had to do research about that movie because I was like, black people signed up to do this.
Right.
So like, and then when I found out it was made in Haiti, I was like, okay, now it makes sense. Now it makes complete sense.
Yeah, because you have to have some people who are like, it's all of those exploitative kind of movies, Cannibal Holocaust and shit like that. It's like the people don't even fully know what's going on.
Yeah, because I'm like, there's no way some black guy came inside the movie theater. Same way with like Aries Spears. There's no way you signed up for a job and you didn't think this was wrong. And no way. But yeah, when I found out it was done in Haiti, I'm like, okay, it makes a lot of sense.
A little bit more sense, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, this is some shit that it just exists, right? And I think American, I don't know totally if it's all American. I'm sure it happens in other countries too, maybe even more because there's so
I think
much
we decided to put it on
about
camera.
Sex.
I think we decided to put it more on camera. I think that's what makes it an American thing.
They're super chill about sex in a lot of other countries. They got boobs in the magazines. They got boobs on regular TV. You don't have to have like cable TV to see tits, and so it's a little bit different. But Brooke Shields was featured in Playboy magazine when she was 10 years old, naked in a bathtub full of water, a 2-page spread, and then she went on to be featured in some other things too. As a naked 10-year-old, like lipstick being made up, they were calling them the words that they use. Nymphette is the words that they use. Sexually mature young girls and kind of shit like that, and it just kind of existed, and nobody said nothing about it. I mean, I'm sure there were some people, some organizations that might have been a little pissed about it, but it just was a thing. It was just a thing, and nobody really made a big deal out of it. There was another one named Eva Lonesco. She was featured in a bunch of magazines and shit like that when she was 11 years old, and then she grew up and became an actress in a bunch of wild ass sexually exploitative movies. One of them was called Spermula.
What year was this?
Spermula came out in 1976.
Perfect.
So
won the Emmy that year.
It might have, the way they get down. So Spermula is a movie about like some aliens or something coming from the future, and they had a plan. Well, actually, you know what? Let me go right to the IMDb. Is it IMDb?
To me, that's Hollywood's golden years, the 70s.
Oh yeah.
To me, that's the golden years of Hollywood.
It says a notorious secret society known as Spermula plans to return from the future and conquer Earth by neutering the male population. Maybe they were successful. This could have happened by now. I think if the people who made Spermula got to look at the world in its current configuration, they'd be like, yo, we predicted this. But like I said, this is a kid who was featured in pornographic publications when she was 11 years old and just went through the rest of her life being a 70s sexploitation actress, and like nobody's going to jail, nobody's dad is beating anybody to death in Hollywood. This is just a thing. And then you get around to later on stuff, even as late as like when Taxi Driver came out. There was what's her name? What was the one who was in Taxi Driver?
Jodie Foster
playing a hooker, shit like that, which is a little
Jodie Foster,
a little weird. I don't know. It's like she was clearly an underage hooker in the movie, right?
Yeah.
I think we knew that, but it was so super acceptable. Nobody was totally weirded out by the fact that she was an underage hooker. But they did kill her pimp, so I guess that's the retribution that you get for being a pimp who sells underage girls. But it's some really weird shit. And the weirdest thing about it to me, I'm not going to show this, of course, because I feel like there would be some fuckery attached to it. But all over Google Images, if you Google these people's names, Brooke Shields, Evil, and that, if you look these people up, there's images all over the internet of them in super compromising positions at these young ages. It's all over. So is it because they grew up, they weren't technically victimized like a person who was sex trafficked and got hurt and raped and all of that shit? That would be considered, child pornography. Maybe, I don't know. But why is it that these 11-year-old girls who were in Playboy is still completely searchable on the internet? Why can you go to Google Images and see all this shit?
But that's why cancel culture is bullshit.
Yeah, it's bugged out.
She was in Playboy at fucking 11 years old. I never knew that. I knew that I think she was underage in the Blue Lagoon thing, where she's like naked throughout the movie.
Oh, it gets.
I think she was.
Yeah, and that was when she was like 15 or something like that, or whatever. But this is at 10 or 11 years old. Fuck, bro.
I don't understand how that. Did laws change or get instituted after that? Was there a period
people
in
just
US
started getting weirded
where,
out by it? It's just the younger generation just started getting weirded out.
I know there was a fight for whether pornography was free speech, right? I don't know. Like once they decided, okay, pornography's cool, it was later where they were like, okay, but you got to be 18 or older. That wasn't because I gotta think there's no way that spread could have been in fucking Playboy, and nobody went to jail. Unless there just wasn't laws on the books yet.
That magazine has to be banned because there was also a porn actress who played.
Oh,
she lied about her age.
Tracy Lords.
I forgot her name.
Tracy Lords.
And you can't find none of her stuff.
Right.
She was that age.
Maybe it's because it's film. It's actual penetration.
National Geographic shit, man.
Versus putting
Geographic shit.
Yeah, I'm
National Geographic shit written all over.
Listen. Hold on. And you don't think it's a coincidence that they're calling pedophiles MAPs now? Minor attracted persons.
MAPs.
You don't think that's a Nat Geo plot? We'll call them MAPs. It's a Nat Geo conspiracy.
Yo, this shit all leads back to National Geographic, bro.
We're showing underage titties. Nobody can do anything to us. We're Nat Geo.
Now it's starting to show up on TikTok and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't want to say we spoke it into existence, but I think it's people pressing against the algorithm. You can't be naked on TikTok, but they're showing pictures of naked sub-Saharan African women, and you can't ban them because I don't know why.
It's the Nat Geo loophole. It's a thing. It exists.
So there's
an international convention. They've agreed to it.
If they have mud in their hair, you can show their tits no matter how old
they are. No matter how perfect they look, non-droopy.
That's amazing tagline. Like National Geographic, we can show you tits regardless. Doesn't matter the circumstances.
It's very fucking strange. I can't lie. I mean, just knowing that this happened. Yeah, it's bugged out, bro.
It lines up too well. It can't be incompetence. It's a conspiracy. It just happened to play out this way. No, it's look, Nat Geo's behind it all. They've been finding a way to get underage titties into your room and in your children's libraries for at least 6 decades now? 6, 7 decades?
Yeah, nobody does it like Nat Geo, bro. Nobody does it like Nat Geo. They got this shit down to a science. They're like, and I've never heard that conversation before we had it. How is that possible? How has nobody else ever pointed this shit out and like, what are they doing over here? It's just, I don't know. Maybe this is bigger than we thought.
We've tapped into a stream of higher consciousness from this by doing just meditative absurdity mining because we've applied ourselves. It's almost been a monastic ritualistic endeavor, and we've tapped in to some unseen stream of awareness that has yet to be unearthed. So it's so simple now that it should have been disturbing all of us for decades, but no one's brought it up. This eureka moment that we've come across. It's like, yeah, all of you have been asleep. Right. It's just the universe will reward your absurdity mining. It's being done with a righteous spirit in a meditative and ritualistic fashion. We will honor it, and we will let you tap into the stream of awareness. And that shit is gross, and it should have always been wrong. And the fact that nobody's outraged about it or aware of it still is just a testament to how deep in the mud your civilization is.
Gosh, dude, it amazes me because I'm not one for the super deep, crazy, outlandish conspiracy theory stuff. It's like we understand that these people exist, but I think we want to, as level-headed, rational humans, we want to believe that it's some filthy underground seedy, like you can't, but this is just people putting it in publication magazines and selling them on street corners in New York. Like back at that time, you could just stop at the newsstand in New York and buy a Playboy that had an 11-year-old girl in it. So to get to that level, there has to be a structure already in place where you're not going to be convicted, you're not going to be demonized or vilified. Like, you got to be pretty brave to not only photograph an 11-year-old girl wet in a bathtub, but also publish it in your popular, famous magazine and not think that this is the end of your career and the beginning of your jail sentence. So just imagine what was going on at the time for him to feel like that was okay. So maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the one who's being naive to think that these people have been forced underground to act out their filthy ass fantasies when they're just like, nah, son, we just National Geographic, bro. It's right there. And in our defense, as kids, we were just happy to see boobs. We weren't thinking about the age of the girls in the magazine. We were like young. We knew we could sneak a peek at some boobs in a magazine. But then you get older, you forget about it. You move on to more, to more explicit shit. Because it started with smaller things. I mean, I remember sneaking in when my grandmother wasn't home, looking in the lingerie section of her Sears catalog. Like, I remember those days. So, and then it escalates from there. But to know that they've been doing this so successfully I don't know. I haven't seen a National Geographic magazine in a long time. So I don't know if that's still how they get down. Is that still just how they roll these days? I don't know. I'm going to have to find a more recent one from the past, 5 years or something like that, and see if they really getting busy.
All right, I've unearthed some information from the B system. Gary Gross was the photographer.
Yep.
I don't know if that's
Gross. Gary Gross.
The names aren't better. That it doesn't undermine the simulation narrative. His name is Gary Gross. He took photos of her posing in a bathtub in 1975. And it was called Sugar and Spice. If that doesn't make it even creepier, right. Was the name of the
Good Lord, bro.
publication. So it sounds like it was like the NCAA to Playboy's NFL. It's like, hey, we also got this other magazine called Sugar and Spice where we get child stars to look sexy for you. It was ruled by a judge. So it did go before a judge. And a judge said that the images in question are not pornographic in the eyes of the law. Whether you agree or disagree is irrelevant, and the judge made his ruling.
So just because it's a naked child doesn't make it inherently pornographic, is what he's saying. Unless there's nothing sexual. There's no man in the picture with her. Not at that time. It was just her, but she did have on lipstick and all kind of shit. So her being photographed by herself could be seen as art because no sex is insinuated, explicitly insinuated. Yeah.
So, contrary to popular belief, a nude image of a minor is not automatically pornographic, nor is a fully clothed image of a minor automatically non-pornographic. The law is more nuanced than that. Unlike some people, the courts are usually mature and educated enough to understand that sex and nudity are two completely different things. I mean, the fact that it was affiliated with Playboy, I think immediately puts it in a context.
Right. That's Playboy magazine.
That's not unambiguous. Yeah.
Good God, bro. I this is like, and I'm sure there's some deep conspiracy theorists right now that's like, see, we've been telling you this whole time, the world, the world is run by psychopath pedophiles, and I don't know, man. I'm starting to think it might be true.
Well, wouldn't it make sense if there were the interdimensional pedophile brain slugs? That, I mean, they would see all of us as basically Nat Geo tribal people. We're all primitive, and so they just slowly introduce. This is how we see all of you. You're things. You should be naked and in magazines. And we want to trade you for 200 dick skins. We want to sell you for 200 dick skins. It's all an allegory. The entire Bible is an allegory of stories of aliens purchasing children for 200 dick skins. Prove me wrong.
Wow. I guess. I mean, and I don't see. This is why I'm not a judge, because I understand where you don't want to lean too much into a puritanical bias, right? You can't just say a picture of a kid is like. I get the idea, but it still feels like, to me, I know that's an emotional term that's supposed to belong to women as far as the manosphere is concerned, but it's just triggering me in a way. It just feels like it's leaving doors open, but at the same time, you can't create laws around like trying to safeguard from something that might happen.
What happens is you've immediately made every doting parent that scrapbooks a felon, like overnight.
Every mother. Our children naked though?
I've never met a parent that doesn't have naked pictures of their kids. Is that not a thing universally? Have I grown up in a cult? I was just wondering
just now about your friend group. I'm just like, I don't know, dude. I mean,
Well, not so much of my peers, but when I was a kid, every adult, like your parents don't have any pictures of you naked, like as when you were a baby.
Well, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure I have. Like, when kids are super small, before you put them in a real bathtub, you got like that little blue plastic thing. It looks like a car seat that you bathe them in. I'm pretty sure I had a couple pictures of the kids when they were tiny in that thing. Nothing like, close up explicit, but you could see that they're in the little bath. So it's like, yeah, so I guess.
There's no pictures of anyone jerking me off as a child, but the schmeckle is definitely in sight. I'm in the bathtub and you see the tiny penis.
The Brooke Shields pictures are just like, that's not like a kid taking a bath. This is like, I got a kid to sell you if you want to buy. It's weird.
Yes,
it's weird looking.
Yeah,
it's weird looking. So I guess
but that's what I'm saying is if you say if you have any pictures of nudity under 18, I mean, and maybe it could just be some weird, creepy cave beast behavior, but I thought this was a widespread phenomenon that people had pictures of their small babies naked, but it would make people felons unintentionally. So I guess they'd have to say, just nudity itself can't be pornographic on its own, because I think there's too much of a common thing that parents do have some naked pictures of their kids. But clearly, if that was the basis, okay, well then there's a loophole that we can dump it in a sexual context. And even Nat Geo never tried to didn't put a boa.
I just watched a documentary about Haiti. You know how many naked children was running around there uncensored?
I don't know if you want to call that a documentary, though.
It's a
I don't know if you want to call Goodbye Uncle Tom a documentary.
No.
But what is Goodbye Uncle Tom?
Somebody going to Haiti, going to the cities and all that stuff like that.
Oh, okay, I got you. I thought you were still talking about Goodbye Uncle Tom. I was about to say, please don't tell people that's a documentary. I'm gonna show you the trailer in a minute, but yeah, Goodbye Uncle Tom is one of the wildest. This was around the time when there was a lot of those Italian exploitation movies coming out. Cats from Italy was coming over here making all kind of. They was making westerns. They was making a bunch of wild shit, And
good westerns.
Yeah, they made really good westerns, like Sergio Leone and like a bunch of other people. They were making great horror movies. I'm pretty sure they even funded some of the earliest blaxploitation films. Because
man, good sample too. For the
great
samples.
shit.
Like
they knew what was up.
Great
Whereas American people didn't want to give money to some of these smaller projects, money from Italy, especially Italy and a few other places, they was like, yo, I'm down. So they was throwing a lot of money at films at the time. So, but they also didn't completely understand the politics and shit that was going on over here. So they was just going all the way left. Whereas filmmakers from America, I think they were trimming the fat a little bit to try to be more marketable. The Italians was like, yo, we don't give a shit. Yo, we just making a movie. So Goodbye Uncle Tom is a 1971 movie about slavery and how the Europeans, Southern, they had come over here, and it was just showing the lifestyle of these people as they had slaves. But it was a lot of violence, a lot of nudity. It was a little bit of everything. So, but to watch it, it is presented in documentary format. It'll make you think that it's like almost real footage from some of this stuff because you don't think to be.
But I think
the
source of the movie comes from a journal.
Yes,
if I remember correctly.
Like,
it's like the Italian filmmaker is in a time machine and they're going back in time, but the premise of this is from a journal of what happened to a slave from pick up to the land.
Yeah, it's some wild shit. So I got the trailer up here right now. I'll do some. It's bro, it's crazy, bro. It's crazy. And if you can see, most of the shit that people were doing back then was similar to this. It was very similar, but Goodbye Uncle Tom is one that you never forget once you see it. It's just it's wild, bro. It's wild. They got a bunch of Negroes in cages, and they had one scene in there where this gay guy who's he presents as gay, and he's in charge of watching the children and how to sell the children. He's got them all painted up in like gold body paint and shit like that, and it's super weird. It's hard to watch, to be honest. It's very difficult to watch.
Yeah, I paused midway, and I'm like, who did they hire to do this? Because like I couldn't finish it because I'm like I had to find there.
The rebellious were hunted down.
This shit is crazy, bro. I haven't seen
and
this
the
in
weak
a long
were
time.
used for every pleasure that man could devise. It was a time of chains and cages, of incredible cruelty and hatred and revolt. The uncompromising camera of Jacopetti, maker of Mondo Cane, recreates this time with soul-shattering truth. To make the unbelievable unforgettable. Farewell.
Yeah, totally bugged out, wild shit. So
great movie to watch at a gathering.
Yeah, a mixed race gathering.
Disturbing.
Yeah, invite over some of your white friends and just put Goodbye Uncle Tom on and to just get out the popcorn.
Yeah, make sure they couldn't be further opposites on the political spectrum. Just really bring a broad group of people together.
Yeah.
Sit them in front of the TV and enjoy. That's great.
Yeah, dude, this shit is it's wild, man. Like I said, I had no clue I was gonna stumble into this shit. Oh, Brooke, by the way,
on YouTube.
Disturbing. It's very disturbing.
Brooke Shields' first film was called Pretty Baby, and in the movie is about a teenage girl who lives as a prostitute in 1917 New Orleans. So I feel like they had an agenda for her early. So you go from Playboy to Pretty Baby to Blue Lagoon to one of the most recognizable supermodels of the time. So it's like she paid her dues. Like, you know what I mean? She came up through the ranks of pedophilia and they turned her into a supermodel. I don't give a fuck how hot you are as an adult. I cannot imagine being like these guys, these men around her at 10 being like, holy shit, we got to get her naked in the bathtub with lipstick and take some pictures. It's like a fucking 10-year-old, bro.
There's a I can't remember what it is, but there's this thing on Vice about like these Japanese models or these Japanese kids. They got to be like 13 to 16, but it's like the thing, but the only fans are like grown ass men. Like it's the weirdest thing. It's on Vice. I just can't remember the name of it.
It's weird, man. I can't front. I hear stuff from the women on the internet about how a lot of men are secretly pedophiles and shit, and they name some things where sometimes it's like, I don't know, dude. But sometimes some of this shit makes too much sense because you listen to these guys talk, and they talk about wanting these women to be so submissive and young and untouched by other men. It's like, I mean, the more details you give about the type of woman you want, the younger she seems in my head.
Yeah.
It's just,
That's basically what it is. Because if you talk to a grown 30-year-old woman and try to get deep into her past, there's going to be rape somewhere in that story.
Jesus.
Damn, that got dark.
Not
I'm just saying.
Not
talk
always.
To a lot of black women. It's just horrible out there.
It seems to be pretty common, some type of situations like that. But, even I've always been kind of weird about men who adamantly require their women to be clean shaven.
Yeah.
That bothers me a little bit. I mean, not bothers me because it's like, it's not my business. You do what you do. But when I hear that from a man, especially when they express, not like, oh, I just like it, but they express disgust when women don't shave. Like, oh, she didn't shave. She's got hair, bitch. It's like they're so disgusted by the idea of what is essentially an adult woman. That's just what an adult woman looks like. So if you got major issues with that to the point where it's almost like a deal breaker for you, it kind of, because I've never, in my opinion, I don't think hair would keep a man away from a vagina.
Hairy arms.
I don't give a shit about that either. But
hairy arms.
Specifically, if
Yes.
hair on a vagina will stop you from wanting to have sex with a woman, I think you might have some deeper issues.
It's just because when they don't shave their legs and they're rubbing on you, you feel like that extra scratch. Not a fan.
I've never cared about that shit a day in my
life.
But
I've had sex with women, so it doesn't stop me.
Right. So I know what's behind that hair. I've experienced what's behind the hair, and it's not gonna stop me. So just so you know.
But just hair on a girl is never as coarse as the hair on the dude.
Yeah.
Like if just a little bit of hair on the legs, they're still overall super duper soft compared to your legs.
I did know a chick who had hair between her boobs before, and that's a little off-putting. I can't lie. It's a little off-putting.
That you gotta wax.
Right.
Or
so
get laser.
Mustaches, beards, shit like that. It's like, even still, this is her in her wholeness. It's totally up to you how you feel about it. But you're like, if you just don't want to see no hair on a vagina, I gotta be a little skeptical about you, pal. Just
I need a mouthful of hair. I need it to be like dental floss. I need a lot.
That's the only time I want to shave. You shave is just to eat it, but other than that, I could care less.
Nah, I need it there. I need to know that I'm with an adult. I've always liked hair. I know it can get, even if it's out of control, I don't care. 70s bush is fine, but it looks weird. It's just like when you shave a cat.
70s bush is
like
fine.
a furry cat, looks totally different than a shaved cat. It's like, ugh, you look diseased. What's wrong with you? You had such nice, you had a name before. I don't know. Cool. Yeah, pussy can look a little weird when there's no hair.
Oh yeah. It looks like a lot of the monsters we've seen growing up over the years.
Droopy the dog,
the Sarlacc pit from Star Wars. It looks like a lot of shit that we've seen, like men's deep-seated fear of the bottomless, insatiable vagina definitely has made it into science fiction and shit like that. It's definitely a fear, which is another thing that leads back to this pedophilic sensibility. They're scared of the gaping because she has too much experience. I'm gonna fall in there and die. I can't do it. I need one that's I need a hymen attached to it. I need it to have never been touched, so that when I get there, she's gonna be, ravaged with pleasure and pain because I'm the man. That's what I need to experience. I can't. It's really, really weird. But I get where it comes from, because we talked about this a little bit before. The truth is, I think most women are probably playing nice with men to a degree. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you dig in a hole, the shovel will break before you run out of hole to dig. Right? That's just the analogy that we go through, I think, with women. That women can be insatiable. They can be if they want to. Men are the ones that end the party consistently. It's like, all right, I'm done. I'm out. For the most part, I don't think they have to stop at all. Yeah. Until they just get, like, maybe they're bored or tired. Like, all right, I've given myself 84 orgasms tonight with this little toy, so maybe I should go to bed eventually. But that's really what they can be insatiable. So I get where that fear of inadequacy can come from, but that shouldn't chase you towards children, is what I'm saying. That shouldn't herd you towards children. Very, very.
Children strange. Are not the answer. I got you.
Very strange. Children are not the answer. Speaking of Aries Spears, children are not the answer, Aries. Did you get a chance to see that full? That not the full, but watch that Aries Spears sketch, the one that got him in trouble.
It's censored, which makes me mad because they're clearly not fucking kids, right?
Right.
So the media's already decided that what they did is terrible. But if you doctor, I mean, I forget what late night host does that bit where they'll replay a press conference, but they'll just add beeps when the beeps aren't needed. So something completely benign sounds like the person is just cursing like a sailor or saying something completely inappropriate. And so when you're blurring it all out, you've already implied like this is beyond the pale, this is awful, right? Clearly it's nothing that otherwise people would be in jail for showing it and for making it, right? You're distributing it. People would be in prison. So it's not something illegal. If it's not something illegal, show it and let people really decide for themselves if it's over the top. But it seems like a move to sway public opinion when you're already putting it out there with the censorship. It's like, all right, well, how bad is it really?
He's definitely being attacked. And because Tiffany's attached to it, it's like a double attack. Like they're trying to replace her for somebody else. But I'm not gonna lie, I giggled when I watched it. You know what I mean?
Did you see the uncensored version?
No, because I heard it first, but me hearing it, it sounded disgusting. So I'm like, I gotta watch it. But because by the time I watched it, it's all censored. You're not really gonna find like the uncut version.
That's crazy. How could they make the original version disappear? And that means it had to have been up for years.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Somebody had this in their back pocket, bro. Like
2014.
The Lizzie thing popped his name up, and then they're like, I got you, bitch. Take this, TMZ. And then it's just that pop.
Right. It's weird. I don't see the comedy in it at all. I'm pretty sure I saw this sketch uncensored back when it came out because that website that it was attached to was pretty popular. Funny or Die. They was doing. They was like pumping out skits and shit.
Burns. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pumping it out. So I definitely remember seeing this back then, and the Bill Cosby one when it's just him and Tiffany. But none of it struck me as funny. Like it was never funny. So to take somebody to, so we were talking, me and Doobie, we were talking about this too in the text. When you're dealing with pedophilia as subject matter, the comedy can't just be, look how hilarious it is that this pedophile wants to bang this kid. That can't be the source of the comedy. You're gonna have to circumvent people's expectations. You gotta put a twist in there some kind of way where the pedo gets hurt, or like there's gotta be something else other than pedo haha. That's not good enough. So even when he did it with Bill Cosby, again, rapist haha,
but that was with an adult.
Is not fun. Rapist haha is not funny to me, because there has to be some other element in this that kind of makes you, because you know where it's going to go, right? Okay, so Bill Cosby likes to drug women and have sex with them. This is an unsuspecting woman. What's going to happen? Does she drug Bill instead? Or like, what's the take that's going to make me laugh? If you're just making it funny that Bill Cosby is a rapist, I'm just not getting the comedy. And you connected it to the It's Always Sunny skit. The Always Sunny skit, first of all, it didn't even guarantee that the guy they were accusing was a pedophile, right? It was more about them
if you watch the whole
overreacting.
episode, if you watch the whole episode, it is about a pedophile. So you already know coming in.
That's
a whole episode.
A weirdo.
Yes. So basically, that particular episode. So there's this pedophile, a sexual predator moved in, and everybody's putting posters saying, because he moved in, you know what I'm saying? And he looks like Dennis. So they're like, Dennis is like, he doesn't look like me. And they're like, that looks like you, fucking Dennis. And it's like, it's the cheeks. That's the whole joke. But they know he's a sexual predator. So they brought the kid in, and the kid said what he said. And then at the end of the skit, he winked at the kid.
Well, okay. So I get it as pedophilia is also the subject matter in It's Always Sunny skit. One, they didn't leave any. One of the biggest problems with me is that they left room in the Aries Spears skit. They left a lot of room for a person who really has some weird attraction to children to be aroused by the fucking content that they were filming. They got the kid in his underwear with his legs spread and shit like that.
Yeah, rubbing him with oil.
Yeah, rubbing him with oil. He was fucking stroking a toy train like it was a penis. Like, this is way off. In the Always Sunny skit, everything was implied through the dialogue, the back and forth funny. So the underlying premise is still pedophilia.
They didn't give anything for weirdos to jerk off to.
Right.
What you're saying.
And that's Definitely. That's why I think they're so much different, because there was some extra layers to the comedy in Always Sunny. There were no extra layers in Aries Spears shit. It was just.
But that's what I'm saying. I want to know who wrote it. Who wrote it? Who financed it?
It shouldn't just be Aries
It took
Spears
money to produce that.
Like, there's there should be a group.
Right. How do we know there's not some, like, Harvey Weinstein's creepy cousin commissioned the whole thing because he just wanted to see kids doing sexually suggestive shit, and he's like, I can have it be a comedy skit. I'll pay them to make, because I mean, what revenue did that skit produce? Like, who financed to make that happen? It got traffic on Funny or Die? Like, yeah, you know? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it really made them any money or gave them a lot of attention.
The story's sketchy too, because they said that she had a problem with it. So I don't know if he like disagreed with her or not, but a couple years later, it showed up on Funny or Die.
But you didn't know when you read the script, like, and now you'll have the 3-year-old jerk off a train.
She's full of shit for saying that too, because she said she wasn't there for the sketch. But my thing is, there's a scene which I missed. You dropped him off in his underwear.
That's right. See, and also the claim is that she lied to the mom of the kids about what the skit was about.
Yeah.
Right, and then so I don't know. It's her friend's children. A friend of hers children is who this shit. I don't know, dude. It's super weird.
That's why I say comedy's a dark art. Like, it's you want to go so far for a joke, and Aries has definitely proven, especially when I seen him kissing that man in that rap video, dude. And he said it before on Vlad too. He'll go if it's worth the joke. He'll go to link, like, because they're asking a question about him putting him a dress, and he said he'll do it for comedy.
Yeah,
clearly,
I feel a little bit different about
boundaries, and
putting on a dress. I think if you're gonna put on a dress, I think that's legit comedic like territory. I know black folks, and with their history, you know.
Yeah, and that was the conversation that they were talking about. He was saying,
I get that.
For comedy, he'll do it.
But I don't think
that's why when I look at the video with him and Tiffany, I see what he was doing, and it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I laughed at Tiffany because it's like you see that in real life where certain women who got kids at a young age always have a babysitter and they go out to the club. So that's basically the character Tiffany was playing. And he's the weird pedophile uncle. And then, like, what made me laugh is just you know, Aries is a perfect, like, he started off like in Mad TV, so he's perfect with making characters. So I was dying because of his eyes.
Right.
It sounds like we need a new branch of government. We need a pedophile joke review board immediately. It should consist of at least 300 judges, and every pedophile joke should go through a rigorous process of approval. You are getting into a matter of taste, and you know, in your estimation if a joke is well written, if it's clever or not. But we don't go arrest all of the unclever people who have careers. There's a lot of comedic actors and even stand-up comedians who aren't really clever. They're goofy or funny, but they might not even be everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and they make careers for themselves, and you can't come along and say, well, your jokes aren't as well written, they're not as thought-provoking, they're not as clever. You're under arrest. Because it's a matter of taste. Like, you could argue the Always Sunny. I mean, because there's a lot of it. Like Louis C.K. has this whole bit where he's like, you got to think that children are just delicious. I mean, think about it. This guy knows everyone's going to hate him. He's going to prison, and when he goes to prison, he's going to be murdered. And it still doesn't stop him.
Yeah.
You know how delicious kids must be if he's willing to risk it all. And you think about it, it's like, oh, this makes me so uncomfortable. And you're not endorsing it, but in sympathizing with them in that way, like, that's probably true. And that's a really unpleasant thing to think about. And it's like, okay, and he has a real gift of talking about really fucked up shit in that way where he can get away with it because he frames it just right. And I will agree that there's an art to that not everybody has, but those people still make careers. I mean, Aries Spears and Tiffany Haddish have never, like, they've never come across to me as like really clever with their jokes or their presentation. Like they're good. Well, Tiffany Haddish probably more than Aries Spears is a comedic actress, but Aries Spears was always just like the impression dude.
Yeah,
he was on sketch comedy. He can do impressions, but I wouldn't put him on the same level as a stand-up of, like, you talk about George Carlin and Richard Pryor and something. You talk about people.
Have you seen his stand-up?
Not in a long time. I mean, I respect. He's a.
They say he's good at when it comes to stand-up. They say he's good when it comes to stand-up, so I don't know personally.
He's making a living. You have to give him his due. I think it's wrong. I think it's wrong to try to snipe him or shame him or fuck up it. It definitely seems like a coordinated outrage machine tactic. Because the shit you're talking about, something that's what, 8 years old, but now we give a fuck. Like it's just the machine telling us, hey, it's time for us to remember when I told you it was time to hate fucking Coney. Coney's an African killing people. Okay, no problem. Remember when I told you it was time to be like, hey, Ukraine, let's fight in Ukraine? Remember when I told you that? Okay, now I'm telling you, it's time to be mad at Aries Spears.
Right, yeah.
It's that same machinery on social media. It's just like, all right, everybody, it's time. Outrage Avengers assemble. We have something to be upset about. We have to Care Bear stare this person out of a career. They've run afoul of the machine.
He's been asking for it for a long time. Every time Aries Spears opens his mouth, it's to hate on somebody. He is a master at self-sabotage. He's been talking about...
He fucked up the bag.
He's been talking about being blackballed and shit for probably 15 years. At least 15 years. He had a comedy special called Look Hollywood, I'm Smiling, which is like a passive aggressive way of saying y'all only hire smiling Negroes. I'm pretty sure he wore blackface. Yeah, he wore blackface on the cover, blackface and white gloves on the cover of that comedy special. This is them you begging not to be hired for anything ever. So I think his narrative within his own head, it's like it's very similar to what a lot of Christians or religious people in general go through when they see, the Bible says, oh, when you become a Christian type shit, people are gonna persecute you. So they start to, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You don't believe you're a good Christian until you've been persecuted. So if you believe that Hollywood's not going to hire me because I'm a rebel and I'm too real, then you sabotage yourself to make that true. Because if you start getting hired, does that mean you're not real anymore? If you say people only get roles in Hollywood if they go to the casting couch and take it up the tailpipe. So when you get a chance to get a role in Hollywood, how are you going to explain this to your core audience? They're going to be like, oh, well, you took it up the tailpipe, because you've already laid that down as the metric that has to happen for these people to have the success that they have. So you've guaranteed that you're never going to get anywhere. And I think that's his issue. Like I said, nobody asked him if he was sexually attracted to Lizzo. They said, hey, she makes good music. Have you heard it? She's fat. She's ugly. She looks like the poop emoji.
It does seem unreasonable.
That's extremely unreasonable. What are we talking about here? You didn't even... all you had to say was, nah, I don't really listen to that. My girl listens to it. I don't really listen to it. End of the conversation.
Well, in his defense, because people do that in interviews all the time, especially politicians, they're going to take the conversation where they want to go to make the point. And I could see him... Because here's the thing. Lizzo is being sold to us not just as a talented musician, right? She's being sold to us as a proud, fat sex symbol. Like, that's how she's marketed.
At plus size.
Fair enough. I'm sorry. I'm a Klansman on the Raptor. I'm sorry.
Which is bullshit. The fat, beautiful black women before her had diet deals.
Well, in
Monique,
any event,
all of them.
Well, they all, when women get a lot of money, or bigger women, usually they start to improve. You can hire a nutritionist, you can hire a personal trainer, you could pay for liposuction. But on
TV, it's okay to be fat.
Well, she's embracing. Well, here's the thing. I don't want to get upset at people when they're expressing their outrage at the machine, because I feel like it's more machine outrage than Lizzo's outrage. It's like, because you're flipping the switch and telling me there's something wrong with you if you're not attracted to this. This is attractive. Well, no, it's kind of not healthy, and it makes sense from an evolutionary perspective why it wouldn't be attractive, right? But you're beating me over the head in the media every day that I'm supposed to think this is attractive, right? So I don't think it's totally off base for him, because they put her out there like that. The machine does. She's marketed that way. Like, that's the joke. Like, yeah, I'm fat, but I'm sexy as fuck.
That's the soul she sold.
You want it. Yeah. So I could see him wanting to fire a shot at her on that. Like, what do you think of Lizzo? Oh yeah, she's fat. She's not this sex symbol y'all have been marketing her to be. Yeah,
but he's not the first to do that.
But wait, this is the thing, though.
Well, why is
No, my bad. This is the thing. The conversation was explicitly about music. It wasn't, hey, what do you think of Lizzo? The guy who was interviewing him specifically said, like, it was part of another conversation, and he goes, by the way, who does make some really good music is Lizzo. Have you heard her stuff? He's like, come on, son, she's fat. That's what happened. It wasn't just a random alley-oop. It wasn't just an alley-oop. Like, what do you think about her?
And he asked the question.
They set him up. They knew what he was going to do. They knew what he was going to do.
Because they did the same thing with Action Bronson. When he got in trouble with Ghostface, he's like,
he didn't get in trouble with Ghostface. Is a psychopath. He's a psychopath.
It still was funny.
It was funny because psychopaths are hilarious sometimes. That's why it was funny, because Ghostface is a nut job. He's a rapper. They asked him about a rapper, and he said he don't rap as good as me, or he don't rap like this no more. So instead of going to rap, being a rapper, and a rapper commented about your rapping, so you rap, he just started threatening him with violence because he's an old ass man yelling out the window, "Get off my grass!" Like, it's
That's
just
the only way he's gonna win the argument.
He's a nut. He didn't win. He came out looking like a doofus, and Action Bronson just made more money.
Yeah,
that's all. The only place they got sort of a win was when somebody snapped a picture of Action Bronson getting pressed at a funeral or something like that.
But the old heads got a win, but Action Bronson's really winning.
Yeah, they just think they're winning because they're senile, and they have fucking Alzheimer's and shit. Like, they don't know what the fuck's going on. That shit was horrible, bro. But in this case,
Action came in with the cooking.
Yeah, he's doing all kind of shit. But in this case, he was explicitly asked about her music, and he took that opportunity to go in on her physical appearance, which is
it's a douchey thing to do. Yeah. It's douchey,
and that's what he does. But he's a pro.
But now there's a whole morality machine that's like, we're going to dig up this shit from 8 weeks ago. And again, not go after the website that put it up, whoever financed it, whoever wrote it. No, you performed in it, right? Like, if anything, I mean, wouldn't you be upset at the parents? Like, why did you lend your kids for this? You know, or shame the children. How dare you?
Yeah.
Shame the children.
How dare you allow yourself to be subjected to the gaze of a pedophile?
You jerked off a train. The fuck is wrong with you?
Sick fuck.
No, the girl that set up the lawsuit, she definitely found a good lawyer, and he definitely fucked up at the right time for that case.
It's a money grab, and yeah, this case is, they've probably been sitting on it for like 4 years. I'm like, just wait till he mentions something. Wait till he's trending on Twitter, and then we pull the trigger and, you know, file the suit.
Well, it seems like there's more involved with it because there's.
They said Tiffany was getting extorted by her. It's like her best
she
friend.
did. She said she tried to get some money off her, but I don't know if it's all about that sketch in particular. It seems like they were involved in more than just that sketch.
But that's what's being alleged. Is being alleged.
That's what they're saying, because they're saying they groomed the kid to say stuff like sexual, but at the same time, this video is out of what they really did.
Look, I don't know how old that kid was on Lab Cab in California, but his dad was telling him to say, and serving well, you bitch ass motherfucker. Adults tell kids to do inappropriate shit. That's funny.
How many movies and TV shows that we've left at, and it's young kids cursing and screaming and talking about adult shit?
Cursing is one thing.
Well, I mean, even wasn't there a Little Rascals episode where they were like running a burlesque? You know, there's that Shirley Temple video
Super
of her,
bad,
like seductive and seducing men on a bus. Like,
oh well, yeah, Shirley Temple was a victim
on their laps and singing. Yeah, I mean, there's always been some shit that's been peddled out as art that, if you really look at it, it's like, this is a little creepy. It's a little inappropriate. I mean, I guess it's not illegal, but it does feel a little bit weird that we're all just agreeing that this is justifiable entertainment.
Yeah, it's very, very strange, and nobody's gonna feel sorry enough for Aries Spears to really look at what's going on. They're just gonna let him take his loss, you know, because of what he said and how he's. I mean, like I said, this has been his consistent alignment for a long time now. He's not doing anything that any of us care about. Nobody's posting any clips from any Aries Spears stand-up comedy. He's not promoting. I don't see, nobody's following him. Not nobody, but people aren't really looking him up for comedy. They're looking him up for hot takes about people he doesn't like, about rappers he thinks are soft,
right.
or about Key and Peele being not black enough and shit, like stupid shit, 100% dumb shit the whole time. I don't hear him saying anything positive about anybody. I don't know none of his jokes other than like a Shaq impression or a DMX impression. Other than that, all he's good for is hating. That's pretty much his whole lane.
But isn't that how it's been set up now? I mean, even comedians and actors and actresses, and why they got to apologize for, I mean, they're all engaged in now becoming like podcasters and YouTube stars.
Yeah.
Like that's one aspect of my career, is I'm a comedian. I'm also a Vlad guest where I can talk a lot, you know, how Lord Jamar was for a while.
Right.
Yeah, Lord Jamar was a rapper, and he had an episode in The Sopranos, and I forget what other HBO series he was on, and also it's like I say inflammatory shit on Vlad. Like this is so there's
he was
something
on Oz
working.
too.
Yeah, Oz, that's what it was. So that's what the infrastructure online is designed to do. So it's the same thing. They kind of got to lean into it and play up to it at some point. You know, the machine demands it. It wants those things. It rewards those things monetarily. You know, I can't be completely upset with him for doing something that he knows is going to bring more money and attention his way.
Yeah.
That's true.
Hollywood, baby.
There's always a chance that you say the wrong shit about the wrong person and it goes left. So I guess if you're willing to roll those dice and be, you know, the hater on the internet, because the same thing happened to Lord Jamar. You know, he was talking a bunch of shit. He ran afoul of the wrong person, and he had to back off. He backed off into his own in his own podcast, and now you don't see him very much on other people's shit because he's not. He's radioactive at some point. You're like, yo, there was a time when I could bring Lord Jamar on my show and it would boost my views, but at this point, if I bring him on my show, it might fuck my show. And that's how Aries speaks.
What did he do that made him radioactive? I thought
nothing happened. What happened? The beef with those two, and it's the other comedian too. I can't think of his name.
Godfrey.
Godfrey.
It's because of what Farrakhan
He didn't want to
said.
apologize to Farrakhan, some shit like that. So they're like, we're not coming back.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That did happen.
Misrepresented and misquoted he was telling him to pick up rocks.
He did.
Yeah, which I kind of agree with them.
It wasn't a misquote.
Because Vlad says he's an atheist. So why do you care what Farrakhan says?
Because tribalism means you have to give a fuck. You're speaking about my Dick Cloud voodoo doll. How dare you?
But you're supposed to be an atheist.
Well, also because it wasn't a discussion about God. It wasn't a discussion about whether or not you believe in God. It was a discussion about Farrakhan saying, when you see a Jew pick up a rock. That's what when you see a Jew pick up a stone. That's not a conversation about God. That's a conversation about how to treat people in society. So yeah, he could have an opinion on how people should be treated in society, whether or not I should prepare myself to commit violence because I saw a person of a specific ethnic group. That's a conversation you can have as an atheist. And they didn't misquote him. That's exactly what he said. He just bitched up about it when he got confronted. Oh, I meant a stone of truth. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Nobody believes that. You didn't say that. He didn't say stone of truth. He said pick up a rock, pick up a stone. And then when he got confronted on it, oh, I meant stone of truth. But you know what that is. That's some sucker shit. That's some sucker shit.
It is, but to be fair, he's still not literally saying, I really think you should just pick up rocks and throw them at Jews. Like, I get that there's an allegory there, you know, just like David threw the stone at Goliath, you know, you got to throw your stones at the problems in front of you. That's how all preaching is. Preaching is, I'm telling you this allegory, and that's the wiggle room of why you could say some shit where it's like, technically I'm telling you to commit a felony. But allegorically, lyrically, committed a crime. Right.
That's what they're doing now. Even on YouTube, they're saying, "Oh, this other YouTuber should kill himself. He should kill himself in Minecraft, in a video game,
Yeah.
We know what you're doing, bro. That's some sucker shit. Stand on it, like they always like to say. Stand on it for real. And I think that's fair. That's even though we know what the allegory is, and preachers like to get, you know, I forget the word, but you know, they like to blow shit out of proportion. Imagine if some Christian nationalist white preacher was like, when you see a Negro pick up a rock.
The rock of truth.
The rock of truth. You think everybody would just ignore that? Like, oh, that's just how preachers preach. Negroes would be falling over in the street, clutching their chests. Like, oh, I can't take it. They're still doing this to us. Like, everybody would be instantly injured. But when fucking Farrakhan says it, it's like, no, that's not what the brother would. It's ridiculous.
You know what the brother was saying.
Right. Everybody like to do that shit. Brother. They love it. They love to move the goalposts.
I very much used to enjoy Lord Jamar on his Vlad TV interview. It's unfortunate to me that these two men had an irreconcilable beef with each other when they had a partnership in some capacity that brought a unique product out there. I enjoyed him giving him that platform, and it just seems silly to me to we're gonna beef for some shit that somebody else said that ain't got nothing to do that's invoked our Dick Cloud voodoo dolls. And this is what it is. Like, they both put up their Dick Cloud voodoo doll Voltrons. It's a Power Ranger episode. They weren't even fighting, right? This is the episode where, you know, in Power Rangers they would fight the fucking thing in real life, right? And then it would grow, and then they'd have to get the machine. This is the two characters aren't fighting, they're just getting along and hanging out. And then the big versions come up behind them and start fighting, and they're like, well, fuck it, I gotta hate you now. You could see our Power Ranger machines are fighting each other, so fuck it, we have to. The Dick Clouds, the Dick Cloud, the Dick Cloud voodoo dolls broke that up.
Vlad just wouldn't apologize. That was the bottom line. Vlad was like, I don't think I have anything to apologize about. And I kind of agree. Like, he didn't say, he might have went in a little bit hard, like, that's what he meant, like drilling down into it, like, yeah, he meant assault Jews. Maybe he took that stance a little bit too far because it is kind of airy, it's wispy, it's, it's a little lacking form, so you can't really pin him down on one side or the other. So it's just as egregious to say he meant hit a Jew in the head with a rock as to say, no, he meant stone of truth. He didn't mean nothing by it. So going to the either extremes is both a lot. So Vlad wouldn't apologize, and they wouldn't stop acting like Vlad directly assaulted God by questioning the words of Farrakhan. Remember, this is the same guy that said that a wide nose and kinky hair was a curse from God. This is the same man that said, what if we did kill him? He was our traitor. That's our business. It ain't like this motherfucker's beyond reproach. Like, let's stop pretending that he's.
Well, I don't fuck with Farrakhan at all.
I get why he's important. I understand the impact that he's had because he represents an idea. So Farrakhan is a finger pointing at the moon. We get too hung up on the finger. We idolize
and they're feeding him all the food. He has all the houses.
That's it. He earned it. He earned it.
Right.
He earned it. So I think we idolize people too much. If you look at
by the way,
what he represented, what he was trying to teach people, the overarching message is something that I think the community overall can benefit from beyond the shadow of a doubt. But when you try to make the person be beyond reproach and pedestalize the person, you're going to run into some major fucking issues every time without fail. Yeah. Every time. And I think that's the problem with him. That's the problem with Elijah Muhammad. Like, you can't just be like, yo, yeah, that book Eat to Live was awesome, but you're a pedophile. So I can still read that book and learn how to eat for longevity, but some of these other practices I'm not going to co-sign.
Or make excuses for it. Right. I'm to the point where I'm completely okay with just embracing aspects of people. Right. And not having to answer for everything about them. I'm like, you can't do that for anybody.
Right.
So it's just silly to pretend that everybody's got to meet this ridiculous moral threshold. Look, the guy had great ideas about this, and this, I think he was kind of fucked up. Yeah. And me as an individual, I get to make that opinion. But yeah, man, it just shows you that people prefer cults. People are wired for cults.
Yeah.
I don't even care what the message is. I'll defend the messenger no matter what, whether the messenger is right or wrong. And it should be the opposite, but we know it's not. So I get it. And also, too, man, there's just that thing in hip-hop where you have to give the right answer. You have to. Like, nope, we're going to side with Farrakhan. Like, the Queen died. I have to be happy that the Queen died. Right. There's a movie about Elvis. Elvis, of course, stole all his songs. He didn't have to go out there and sing and market. He wasn't actually around, black culture and had admiration for it. He's completely an evil fucking guy. So there's just those certain things where you can't have a nuanced approach or try to be objective. Like, and that's just one of those things. Yeah. Like, Vlad, you're in the hip hop space. You've been confronted with some shit that's maybe a bit nuanced, and it's going to be a challenge having an honest, objective conversation. So you've been confronted with, how do you feel about Farrakhan? And you gave the wrong response. You gave the wrong response, and you were religiously ousted.
Hey, I mean, I think, like you said, people are definitely wired for the cult experience. And even if one of the best ways to get people to raise you up as a guru is to say that you're not one. As per Tony Robbins, he had a whole tour that's I'm not your guru, and people will drop everything and pay $5,000 to come sit in his presence for an hour and listen to him.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, you gotta be, because you said you're not. That makes you my guru. That's the rules. Just like telling a woman you're not interested in her. A lot of them who are wired a certain way will be like, "Oh, I'll show you, motherfucker. I'm gonna make sure."
Yeah, Rastas are the same way with Haile Selassie. Well, he said he wasn't God because he's a humble man.
Right. So that means he's God.
Just being right.
Yeah.
That was a weird one too, because I would do research on Haile Selassie. He himself said he was nothing special, but everybody's like, he's a humble man. He's God. He's the son of God.
Dude, they do that shit all the time with everything. They're like, oh, bro, his name means the power of the Trinity. Like, did he name himself or did somebody else give him that name?
I do believe the lineage, but that's as far as I go with it.
I don't give a shit about bloodlines, bro.
I don't give a shit about it either, but I do believe like it's possible that the David lineage finished down there. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, I get that. I definitely, they seem like they, but preserving a bloodline that has a lot of other implications. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to say like Habsburg jaw business, but that's where you're getting into that territory when you're talking about preserving bloodlines, because the only way to do that is to keep it in the family. Yeah, it's just incest.
Right, but you could also see that there's a person that is completely worshipful towards Haile Selassie, but completely disgusted by the Windsors. Right. It's like, wait a minute, you're fighting for the same thing. You're saying, no, it's really important. They're the descendants of whoever the fuck.
Bullshit. Yeah, I'm not a bloodline guy, so I don't. I remember there was definitely a time when I was super interested in Rasta just as a spiritual system, but it was mostly once I figured out what was going on. It's not the Rasta real element of it that was so appealing to me. What I would categorize it now as it would be the roots man element. That's what it was. It was the being close to nature, living off the grid, growing your own food. Like, that's the vibe, not necessarily worshiping a person who we think is the fucking embodiment of God on earth. That part right, I was like, I don't give a fuck about
that. That's what I think a Rasta is to me, because I had to do the same research too, because I was so curious and I couldn't find a motherfucker to talk to. So, you got to do your own research. You got to dive into the culture. And it's basically two things. You're Christians and you rather live off the land.
Right. And
you smoke weed.
So Christians who want to live off grid and smoke weed are basically Rastas. That's
right. David Koresh, if he sang reggae music instead of folk music.
Holy shit. You'd only have to change one thing. So if David Koresh would rather listen to reggae music, then his whole congregation is Rastas now. Same shit.
Because I still listen to like old reggae, dub culture, because it's a nice little vibe, right? But it's basically gospel music when you get the real roots culture.
It is, but it's the greatest shit ever.
Yeah, they just did it better. They just did it better. Like, I don't listen to gospel music, but I would listen to that all day long. And I don't need like the bullshit Jesus 50 different times. Just keep telling me about Babylon, burn it down, light up the spliff, and a couple horns.
Right. It's either you talking about gospel like super duper fast, catching the Holy Ghost, or some really slow make you cry. Reggae is just like, look, smoke a lot of weed and just let your mind wander and relax. Like, it's the preferred gospel vehicle for sure, musically, 100,000%.
You're a little bit muffled right now. I'm not sure what happened, but something sounded like you moved a piece of cloth over your mic or something.
How about now?
There you go. But yeah, I agree. I think reggae is the best music in the world. I've said that a bunch of times because of the connection to nature and the spiritual element of it. Because there's a lot of reggae. Some of it will take you directly to the Bible and Haile Selassie, and some of it will just take you to looser concepts like natural mystics and just vibe shit. It's not nothing that you can tie down to one specific spiritual system. Just the vibe, the underlying connection that links everything. And I think that's the part of it I identify with the most. And they just do it better than most other geographical locations where people feel the same way, because I think there's some of that in bluegrass music too. You know what I'm saying? They'll tell you about sitting down on the dock and catching fish and enjoying life and looking at the sunset. And like, that's all the same shit that's in reggae music. It's just different chords and a different twang to the voice. But I'm guaranteeing that probably almost every group of people all over the world have something similar to a reggae folk vibe. And it's all the same shit. And then eventually it gets deeper into connecting it to a person or a specific thing. But yeah, I don't fuck with that shit too much. I just like the, roots man vibes. I agree with that shit. But as soon as they start talking about Jesus and Haile Selassie, it's like, okay, next joint. I don't need to hear that shit right now.
It's crazy because I got a Lion of Judah tattoo on me, and it just basically represents a scripture, right? But like, there's been many times when I'll be at the airport and there's like a Jamaican family and they're staring at my arm. I'm like, it's not that deep. When I had dreads, it was like, it's not that deep.
No, I'm just culturally appropriating your
but am I really culture appropriating them or the Jews?
It is. It's an inception. It's an assumption of appropriation. Because that's the thing too. It's like, okay, well, even arguing about that, like who's the descendants of who, you're still validating this same single source. You know, like, oh no, we're the descendants of Jesus. You know, that's what that is. No, we're the descendants of King David. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, David said to it, he got punished. So what does that mean for you?
It's all silly.
Yeah, it's all goofball shit, bro. It's just more reasons for people to stay separated and keep fucking each other up over arbitrary shit. It's just gonna, and no matter what you remove from the equation, they'll just migrate that energy to something else. You remove all the religions, it's gonna be something else. We already have 50 other things.
Till, like, we have like Gundam shit going on. It's gonna be badass.
Nah, bro, it's gonna be
space
completely
warfare.
horrible. Space warfare, right? Because the ground warfare and sea warfare is not enough, so we got to take it to space warfare too. That's when shit's really gonna get cool. When we can sit outside and look up in the sky and see explosions and sparks and shit from people killing each other in the atmosphere. That'll be dope.
Once we get to Mars, it's gonna be Mars versus Earth. It's inevitable. It's inevitable.
I'm hoping that the people who first become spacefaring and want to take their energy there, I just want them to go through a portal, like a wormhole that puts them on the other side of the galaxy where there's nobody there. And just let them worry about colonizing a new planet or building a big enough space station, but just go through a one-way wormhole and get lost in space forever. That would be
Earth
better.
was an experiment. We know that's gonna fail. There's been too many cults out here.
Bro, there's consumer level space travel is coming, like soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you could just buy a ticket and go to space. That shit seems
They've been talking
sketchy.
about that for generations, but it's just finally where to the price where people could just pay for it.
That's some weird shit, but it seems pretty sketchy. I don't know if I would. Yeah, I don't know if I would want to. Because first of all, that's got to be the only thing as boring. I feel like a cruise. A cruise is fuckery, right? I went on one cruise in my life.
Can't swim.
I went on one cruise in my life, and it was pretty dumb. It's pretty dumb, I have to admit. So you leave your port, you're in the water for 2 days or something like that because you got to get to where you're going. So all you do is eat and drink like all day long. All the food is included and shit. So you just eat all day, you drink, and you look at other people doing the same thing for 2 days. Then you get to the place you're visiting. And you're there for like half a day. You have 6 hours or something like that. So you walk around, you look at the natives, you buy a bunch of overpriced trinkets and shit. And then you get back on the boat for another day and a half and you just eat and drink. And then you get off the boat again like, oh, we're in the Bahamas. Look at all these people. Oh, buy some little wooden sculptures and let me get my hair braided by this black woman. She's going to give me, $10 per braid. And then you're back on the boat and it takes you 3 days to get home and all you do is eat and drink. So it's kind of just like a water buffet.
Yeah,
that's pretty much what it is. It's just like a buffet in the water. 85% of your trip, 80% of the trip is you eating on the boat. So I think,
and nothing's better than eating and then immediately having the sensation of going back and forth. Those things are always awesome.
Oh my God.
Motion sickness and eating. It's always a great idea.
Yeah, it's a scam. Cruises are a scam. So I can't imagine space. Like, what are you gonna do? You're going to shoot up there. You're going to float a little bit. Like, oh, look, it's awesome. And then you can just come back down. You spent 10
There'll be a buffet, though.
Oh, yeah, right. As long as it's a buffet. As long as it's a buffet and some alcohol. As long as we got some White Claws in space and some shrimp.
Suffering sauce.
Some suffering. Shrimp with suffering sauce.
Chicken wing.
Can I have some tendies with boot stoof seasoning on it? And
look,
some daiquiris and shit.
Can we just agree that space is fucking stupid? Everybody talks about how fascinating space is. No, bitch, Earth is way more fucking fascinating.
Yeah, that's true.
Earth is way more. There's no oxygen in space. It's just nothing but lights for as far as the eye can see, infinite void and occasional lights. And like, oh, it flickers. You see that thing flickering and exploding billions of miles away. Yeah, can I eat it? No, I can't eat. I can't eat. I can't breathe. The only good thing about going to space is you get a better, you get a majestic view of the Earth. That's it. The Earth is the shit. Like, it's a testament to how unhappy human beings just make themselves. We're here on this fucking planet with all this cool shit going on all around us. It's like, yo, I wonder what's going on in this void far away from here where I couldn't breathe or survive. I really want to get to know more about that. Like, yeah, there's all these green plants and blue and purple and red flowers and orange fruits and all kinds of animals and weird little niches that they... Yeah, all kinds of drugs, and there's all kinds of cool shit here on the planet. And you just daydream about, what if I was away from here in just this vacuum of void that kills everything instantly? I wonder how that's doing. Let me check on that. I want to know more about that. Humans are stupid. Humans are stupid, and space is stupid.
Astrophysicists' jobs are useless. Fire them all.
No, well, I don't know if it's useless, but I mean, it does seem like an extreme waste of resources.
They need to worry about Earth.
Yeah, people are dying, people are starving. There's places where people don't have clean water. In first world countries that have metro cities, they got bus systems and shit. They got public transportation, but people don't have clean water. And these motherfuckers are like, I wonder what's behind Venus. Like,
right, or like I'm going to college, and when I get done, I'll be able to tell you how a quarter versus a nickel travels faster than the speed of light. This is what happens when that happens. Well, have you ever conducted an experiment to see it? No, absolutely not. This is pure speculation. But it's an entire career field devoted to it. Like, if you go as fast as the speed of light goes even faster.
Oh, awesome.
And if you dropped a quarter and a nickel and a feather at the same time in the vacuum of space, the feather would... Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck what would happen in a place nobody can go to where there's nothing worth going to see? Who cares? Who fucking cares? But there's a job where you study all of these things that you can never carry out. But let's just speculate on what might happen if we just... It's all pot talk. That's all it is. It's pot talk for nerds.
Without the pot. Those motherfuckers is probably doing all kinds of wild-ass nootropic prescription drugs. They definitely ain't just smoking weed. And if it'll take... There's millions, hundreds of millions of dollars probably is going into this study and this research. Why can we put some of those... Can we just move those guys over to fixing the hunger problem? Or no? It's like they're not equipped for that? Or is that not as...
Those are the guy that was fucking with Epstein?
Oh, is that who that is? Is that who's doing all the space experiments?
I think so.
Well, just to be clear, okay, because I know we love allegedly bashing black women that buy hair products on this show, and we've blamed them for not solving the world hunger problem because, as we were told, $6 billion would feed the entire planet.
I don't know if we've blamed them per se.
No. I'm saying the worst. Of course we did it. I'm framing it in the worst possible way.
Weave. The people involved in buying the weave could solve the world hunger issue.
We mentioned very lovingly and very jokingly that there's about $3 billion in that industry. So in 2 years, if black women just wore their hair naturally, you would solve world hunger. So what I was saying that to say this. There's not necessarily, if it's easy to blame them, right? It's a fucked up thing to blame them, but there's a greater person to blame. I'm saying, that's 2 years. I don't know if you know this. To date, we've given $48 billion to Ukraine for them to fight Russia.
Right.
48 billion.
Right.
So I don't know, what is that? 6 times 8? That's 8.
Stupid.
That's solving world hunger 8 times over.
It's the dumbest shit in the world.
Listen,
dumbest shit in the world, bro.
And they're losing, by the way.
Of course they're losing. They're never going to win. But what I'm just saying is that there's no sincere interest in solving world hunger. Yeah.
I'm gonna say this too. I'm gonna go out a limb. I will add an allegedly to it. But if $48 billion left to go to the Ukraine, I'm guaranteeing allegedly that about $350,000 actually made it to Ukraine.
I don't think any of the money's actually gone there. I think it's a huge money laundering.
But the money was never transferred.
Right, it's a big ass money laundering scheme. Nobody thinks. A lot of people's bank accounts got enriched. A lot of palms got greased. But I cannot imagine this country actually giving $40 billion to some other country to fight another country. I don't see. Because you know why?
The bill.
It's so much easier to solve because America is the military capital of the world. So that's like you asking, it's like asking somebody who's already rich off selling drugs to send money to some people who need the money to buy drugs. You'd be like, yo, I'll just give them a brick of coke. I got that shit laying around like nothing. Why would I give you $50,000? I can just give you a brick because this brick might be worth $50,000 to you, but I only got $2,000 in it because I cooked it up myself. Why would they send $48 billion to the Ukraine for weapons and shit? Like, we got all the weapons. Just drop a fucking shipping container full of AK-47s. They might think it's worth $48 billion, but the U.S. is like, nah, that's like $80 worth of guns, bro. Trust me. They don't give a shit. Yeah, it's all money laundering, and I think everybody knows it. I think most people are content to think that it's a good thing because Russia's bad. Russia is bad mostly because they have a toxic masculine leader. That's really what Russia.
They've always been like that.
Yeah, that's what they're toxic masculinity. Russia is a manifestation of toxic masculinity on this planet. They got some of the people with the highest tolerance for alcohol and violence on the whole planet. I don't think you can find many more people who can drink more vodka or take more pain than Russia.
The last.
You can't outdrink a Russian. And a Russian will chop his own thumb off, bro. Yeah, well, a lot of Europe, especially Eastern Europe. But I think a lot of those motherfuckers are soft.
That ain't the French. They've been pushed out.
That's like Italy. Italy can smoke a lot of cigarettes and eat a lot of processed meat. Well, not processed, but yeah, like, a lot of processed meat without dying. And they smoke a lot of cigarettes. They smoke cigarettes until they're fucking 85 years old. They keep smoking cigarettes, but they're fine. In China, they can eat all the rice and never get type 2 diabetes. You know what I'm saying? It's just a genetic disposition.
Wait a minute.
It's a genetic disposition. It's real shit. You think people in Colombia are overdosing on cocaine? Hell no, bro. They could bang rails all day long. You give one fat rail to a guy in Ybor and he's gonna have a heart attack and die.
Is there an overdose situation in Colombia? I need to figure this out.
No, cocaine belongs to them.
Overdose from cocaine?
Cocaine belongs to them. It's theirs. You can't kill them with cocaine. They're fucking.
Yo, my dog was supposed to bring that over to America. What's Huckleberry Finn's Arthur?
Tom. Well, no, fuck. I'm about to say Tom Sawyer. No, that's another character.
Mark Twain.
Yeah.
Mark Twain. Yeah, there's a story where he heard how they chew all the cocoa, but they like work for nothing. So he was supposed to like bring it up. I forgot how the story goes, but some act of God curved them from bringing the cocoa early in America.
I'm telling you, bro. Some people just have, and I just found out recently that the same way, like Native Americans with alcohol.
Oh yeah, that's the kryptonite.
It destroys Native Americans.
That is their kryptonite. I got a Native American friend. Bro, the alcohol touches his mouth, he's gone.
Done.
And I'm like, why are you letting this destroy your community?
Like, you know who has the same effect as one of their closest genetic ancestors, which is Asians. China people in China get fucked up by alcohol too. And they're genetic neighbors to Native Americans, you know what I'm saying? So it's all genetic dispositions. There's some shit black people can get away with that will destroy other races. You know what I'm saying? So that's just what it is.
Magic beard stuff.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, man. Magical Negro outsmoke any race.
You rub some of that fucking that razorless shave shit on your face will melt.
Yeah, definitely. That's black people's weakness. They can't use razors. Fucking destroy your whole head, bro. Fuck you up. I remember shaving with razors when I was young. I think that was the first time I realized that black people and white people were different, just on a fundamental molecular level. Because the razor was like the most common. It's a razor, bro. That's what you use to shave. You watch it in the movies, all that shit. I would shave. I get fucking bumps in the head, like, oh, this fucking me up.
Shit.
And then
I used to get that too.
Yeah, older black dude finally told me, like, nah, son, that's just for white people. You can't use that. You gotta use clippers. I was like, oh, that's why.
Nobody told me that. I used to go to school looking like I had cancer. It was embarrassing. That's why I stopped going bald. I can't do this no more.
That's why when you go to the barbershop, you don't get none of that shit. You go to the barbershop, you get shaved up, unless it's like dirty clippers or infection, something specific. But you go to the barbershop, you get clipped by the clippers, you straight. You use a razor, bro, you're fucked. You use a razor, it's over for you. For the next few weeks, you're going to be in nothing but searing pain, bro. So, yeah, everybody's different. Everybody's got a different little disposition, things that are for them and things that are just not for them. Cocaine is not for black folks. Cocaine is for Colombians and Mexicans and shit like that. They could bang that shit all day. Nothing happens.
There definitely is like a subculture of white people that could handle meth.
Meth belongs to white people.
Yeah.
Like I think even though it does fuck them up eventually, I think it takes a lot more of it. Like a dude,
I've just never seen a black meth head.
A dude from a trailer park can do a lot more meth than like a black guy from Chicago. Black guy from Chicago's dead. The dude from the trailer park, he's going to live till he's 70. His teeth is going to fall out. He's not going to weigh very much. He's going to have a bad life. He's going to be fighting his baby mama and shit like that. But he probably won't just die from it right away like Omar will. Omar's dead when he tries crystal meth. It's over for him. It's a wrap. So you got to know your drugs. I think weed is for black folks.
Mushrooms for all.
Yeah, mushrooms for everybody. That's for the whole planet. For the whole planet. But carbs are not for black folks. Carbs are not for black folks. You're going to get type 2 diabetes. You eat enough fucking mac and cheese, your heart's going to explode. You're going to lose your fucking foot like Big Mama. It's just not for you. But nobody in China is dying from type 2 diabetes, bro. They eat more rice than anybody else in the world, and it's white rice. It's not like they're eating some kind of fancy black rice, wild rice.
Too, right?
Yeah, they done pulled the whole, bleached, and they take the fiber off of it and just leave the carb part, and they've been eating that shit for 1,000 years, and they still don't weigh nothing.
White rice is good though. It's fire.
White rice is the devil. All white foods are the devil, bro. There's no white foods in nature. There's
cauliflower?
No cauliflower. Nope. We know cauliflower
that was orchestrated by the white man.
You know what happens to cauliflower? They grow it in the dark to keep it from triggering. But I've grown cauliflower. It turns gold and purple when it's out in the sun. Purple and gold. But to keep it white,
purple cat.
To keep it white, they have to shield it from light. It's artificial. It's not real.
So wait, we've designed growing methods to keep vegetables white that would in any other natural setting not be white.
Yeah,
we've been doing that too when it comes to fruits, vegetables.
That's an awesome level of arrogance. Hey, this rice will be more nutritious and beneficial to you if you leave it brown. Fuck it, make it look like us. Let's pay some more money. Let's bleach it and strip it of its nutrients. Make it in my image. Make it white.
Yeah, they definitely it's a lot going on with the cauliflower, bro. And there's not very many naturally occurring white things, just like vegetables and shit. There's just not. It's not a lot. You can do some weird shit to make it be like that, but that's not how it naturally is. Even potatoes and stuff like that. There's hundreds and hundreds of types of potatoes. A lot of them are purple inside or have purple swirls, but for some reason just the white variety, like, of course they pick the ones that ship the best, that can stay on the shelves the longest and all of that, but just regular, just straight up white foods, that shit don't exist, bro. Wheat is not white. Conspiracy. You gotta take a lot of things off of the grains to keep them white. You know what I'm saying? Wheat's not white. Fucking, a regular flour is at the very least, it's like peppered. It's all kind of colors in there because if you leave certain parts on the plant, of course, it's going to change the color of the end result of the flour and shit like that. Like corn tortillas and shit. They made it out of corn flour. It's not always white. You got to have a specific type of corn and remove parts of the corn for it to stay white. So, yeah, white foods are the devil, bro. White bread is one of the most devoid of nutrients things that you could put in your fucking body, bro.
I'm done doing that. I get the honey wheat.
Yeah, it's like glue. Yeah. I don't eat any bread unless it's organic. It's got to be organic, whole grain, real bread. I can't fuck with it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
white bread is just like intestinal clogging glue.
It's the devil.
It's just there to block your shit.
The absolute devil. And I will say too, just because I do grow a lot of food, so I do have the experience with this. A lot of these things that we would grow that do have more color in it and more variety in it, they're very the environment also wants to eat them. I'll put it that way. If you grow a white potato and a purple potato, you have to be way more diligent to harvest the purple potatoes because the bugs are going to eat them. The worms are going to eat them. As soon as they're ready and start building up those sugars, everything else in the environment is going to attack it. White potatoes, nothing else in the environment wants to eat it. That's yours, B. You can have it. Idaho potatoes, those are for you, sir. The worms and shit are in the soil like, no thanks. We're good. So you have a lot more wiggle room to grow those without pesticides maybe, or without all types of rot and things. And at first, when I first started growing it, I was like, yo, these things I thought it was like a weakness in the plant, because that's why everybody grows the white potatoes, because the purple potatoes, they get eaten and they go bad way faster. This is just something you have to be more diligent with, but because of the lifestyle they've been teaching us is that, you don't get enough potatoes for tonight's dinner. You go get a 15-pound bag of potatoes so you can have potatoes for the next 3 weeks. And if you want to have potatoes for the next 3 weeks and they don't start growing and they don't rot, they need to be these white, genetically engineered Yakubian potatoes. Because if you have potatoes that have plant melanin in them, that it's not going to last like that. You can't put it on the shelf and come back a month later and it still be there. It just don't work like that with a lot of other things. So if you're looking for ease of growth and long shelf life, yeah, you're probably going to end up growing some of the run-of-the-mill shit. My bananas, you get Cavendish bananas. Cavendish bananas can sit on your countertop for 2 weeks because of how they pick them. They pick them early and they ripen really, really slow, because that's the one banana that they've decided to sell in stores. There's like 2 varieties of bananas in the whole country.
Trade-off.
Right, it's a trade-off. So if you want regular bananas that have more flavor, more potassium, more sugar content, they taste, all of that shit, you're not going to be able to sit them on your counter for 2 weeks. I've brought racks of bananas in my house, 60 bananas on one rack. Shit weighs 80 pounds. I'm like carrying it in the house like, holy shit, look at all these bananas. They all ripen at exactly the same time. Now we got 65 bananas and they're all ready to go. If we don't eat them today, they're fucking dead. So I got to give them to my neighbors. We got to make banana bread. We got to do a whole bunch of shit to accommodate these bananas before they're useless. But a Cavendish, it'll sit there and just not die. It's a zombie already, so it's like, bro, I'm good. Don't worry about it.
White zombie agriculture. Black don't crack, but white stays ripe. I feel like there's some sort of subtext here I'm missing.
Yeah, there's something going on but like I said, one of the main things that I noticed, like one of the things that makes sense is if it's not part of the environment, nothing wants to eat it, right? So if your dog only eats dog food, your dog will shit in your yard and that shit will stay there for 2 weeks because the flies don't want it, the worms don't want it, ain't no maggots on it. But if you feed your dog chicken bones and leftover food and shit like that, the shit breaks down into it's gone, because everything else in the environment is doing its job. It's the same thing with like I saw natural, like organic butter. You put butter on the ground and you put margarine on the ground. Ants will come and eat the butter, but they won't touch the margarine. They're like, this ain't even food, B. I don't know what this is. This is like Play-Doh or something, but it's not even food. They don't touch it. So it seems like one perspective is like, oh yeah, I'm protected because, my white potatoes aren't getting attacked by animals. That means the animals are not eating your food, which is like, what's up with your food, bro?
Warning sign. Well, this is the thing. This is why the Yakubian theory stays true. You can have it convenient or you can have it natural. But right. You can't have both.
Yeah. The two will not connect with each other. There's very few places where those two circles intersect. Convenient and natural, no. Convenient is a can of peas, but it's also got 500 grams of sodium in it that's probably going to eventually give you a fucking heart attack. Now, real peas, if you wanted to cook a pot of peas, you'd have to grow like 90 pea plants. The amount of peas that somebody would eat, like that you would just make in one sitting for your family to eat, is like 40 plants worth of peas. You'd have to pick 400 pods because each pea pod has like 9 peas in it. So think about how many peas you eat in one sitting. 9 per pod. You'd have to open like 200 pods to get one bowl of peas to pour over your mashed potatoes and shit. So it's like we've been trained to have access to things like rice. You know how much rice?
That's the way.
You know how much rice you'd have to grow a half an acre of rice to feed your family for like a week, and that's all you're gonna get if you eat rice every day for a week. It's like a half an acre of rice. And that's a half an acre of just rice. There's no onions. There's no fucking, just the rice. So we have these connections, and we are dependent on these things that we could never really provide for ourselves. As much as we use flour, do you know what it would take to make enough flour to fry some chicken? If you wanted to just grow your own wheat, grind it, make flour, it's impossible. Nobody would. You just give up on fried chicken.
A football field of flour.
Right.
For 1 bucket of chicken.
Right, for 1 bucket of KFC chicken, a football field worth of grain that gets reduced down to, half a pound of flour.
Bleach white powder of death.
It's got to be white. It's got to be bleached. It's got to be white.
Yeah. If it's got any specks in it, somebody's grandma gonna be like, "What the fuck is this? What did you bring in my kitchen?"
This
it's
ain't
not pure white. You sullied my meal.
Yep.
No motherfucking.
Yeah, it's wild. They definitely rocked us to sleep, bro. They took us into a place where they know it's unsustainable, and as soon as you get a taste of that unsustainability, you're gonna just, it's complicitous. You're not gonna stand your ground and be like, well, fuck that. I'll just stop eating rice. We'll figure out. No. I want my things the way I've always had my things. So if you need to rape a cow and artificially inseminate it and then steal its baby for veal just so I can have my coffee milk in the morning, do what you got to do, bro. Do what you got to do.
Listen, there's gonna be a village of people slaughtered, and there will be babies eaten for complicitous. The sacrifice will happen. But we will have enough rice.
Yeah, you want your Starbucks? We will have
enough quinoa.
You want your Starbucks, and you want your fucking chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A or not? Yes, you want your chicken. Okay, well, patch into this feed and watch these children have their heads smashed in with military boots. It's the least you can do.
Oh shit. You got to listen to these complicitous carols. You got to sing them door to door.
Complicitous carols. Oh, I got to go back to that episode and get some of that shit. I think our next one that I'm going to mine is the God and Willy Wonka story. I think that needs to be hand delivered on a 10-minute platter to people to break down. And I'd really love to get. I don't think there is any pushback, to be honest, but I'd really love to get some pushback from somebody who is of sound mind, to listen to and just explain to me how God's not Willy Wonka. Like just that by itself. That would be the title of the debate. Prove that God is not Willy Wonka.
Is not Willy Wonka. Listen, I just pointed out, like, there's a story that there's no moral conundrum involved, where a dude tells another, like, it's all from God. It's all human. It's right. We're chosen. This is the highest level of thinking and sound reasoning that's out there. It's the meaning of life. It's all there. Look, hey, would you like to purchase my daughter? Yes, I would like to purchase your daughter. Okay. Go and murder 200 people and bring me the skins of their dicks. Bring me 200 dick skins and I'll sell you my daughter. This is the height of civilization.
Check this out. Something that I found the other day, and it's just one more nail in the biblical coffin. One more reason why we know God wants you to be disgusted with him. So there's a concept called the reign of grace. There's the law of Moses, Romans 5:20. The law was brought in so that trespass might increase. Okay? The law was brought in so that trespass might increase. But where sin is increased, grace increased all the more. So for anybody who's not completely understanding that, what they're saying is God created more laws for you to transgress and become worthy of hell so that then he could forgive you and show just how graceful he is.
This is the Dennis method.
Right.
It's nurturing dependence.
This is what people completely identify with the American justice system. They make more shit illegal so that they can punish you for it. And we see that as despicable. Because technically what you're saying is, all right, so right now, adultery and murder are illegal. We don't do that. That makes you worthy of hell. But I can forgive you for those two things. Now I'll add, let's add rape. Now rape is illegal too. That's just one more thing I can forgive you for. So he add more and more shit so that trespass may increase, so he could show off on the back end how willing he is to forgive sins. But you created the rules and laws for the sins in the first place, so forgiving us for the sins that you created laws for, is that really even grace? Or is this just you rubbing your own pipe? I mean, not to be crass, but isn't that just self-aggrandizing? Like, look at how many things I forgive you for. Actually, look how many things you made qualify me for hell. That's a better observation at my point. But you know, maybe it's just me. Because killing children with bears is definitely not illegal.
Listen,
that's something that's completely acceptable.
It's the stories and the level of morality in there. It's some of my favorite things. They need to be read by the voice of Dolomite. They need to be shared with the world. It's great. They're absolutely great stories.
It is. It absolutely is. And that's our next. So anybody who's listening, make sure y'all stay tuned. We got a video coming up this week about why God is in fact Willy Wonka, and why Willy Wonka was basically explaining to us how to get into heaven, not how to inherit a chocolate factory. So if you're sitting back making excuses for the terribleness, the despicableness that is the biblical God and how it's presented to us, basically what you're doing is no different. You've identified the cosmic bully on the cell block, and instead of saying, you know what, I don't think it's right when you knock out the new cellmate and rape him while he's knocked out. I don't think that's cool. What you're saying is the bully knows best. Who are you to say it's not right to rape the new guy? He knows what he's doing. The walrus knows what he's doing. Trust me. That's what you're doing when you're making passes for the bad behavior presented to you.
Who are you to ask me? Where were you when I raped the inmate that came in 6 years ago?
Right.
As I raped the inmate that was new 6 years before that, and then 4 years before that. Where were you to judge me?
I've been in this knockout and rape game a long time. You know what I'm saying?
From the beginning.
From the beginning.
They call me the ancient one.
You're like, well, it's always been disgusting. You don't get to make that call because you weren't here. I was here when the raping started right at the beginning, so I get to make that call. Hey, listen.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I'm just trying to say, this is not me disrespecting God. This is me possibly just pointing to a possible situation where he's giving you an opportunity to be disgusted with him because that's really what he wants. Willy Wonka didn't want Charlie to do the bad things and lead. He wanted him to be good. He wanted him to maintain his integrity and say, you know what? Fuck you, Willy. I don't want this chocolate factory. And here's your fucking piece of candy too. I'm so good, I'm not even going to use this piece of candy to fuck you over because that's what you would do. You're disgusting. I'm leaving. And what did he do? Did he say, good day, sir? He said, no, Charlie, you won because you saw through my bullshit. You held me accountable. You are who I need. Haven't we seen enough mafia movies where you rat on your own family, you turn your guys in so they can all get killed, and then you're like, am I going to get a promotion now? No, I'm going to kill you too because you turned in your family to be murdered. Why would you think I'd want you on my team? you're an idiot. So just take the opportunity and be disgusted with God while you can. That might be your only chance to get into heaven. I'm just saying.
It's the only thing that's made sense. It's the only thing that's made sense. Is you're supposed to be appalled at the notion of selling your daughter for 200 dick skins, offering 2 of your daughters for angels, to protect angels from angel rape. I mean, the level, the decision making and morality, it's amazing. It's supposed to make you say, listen, I understand you're in charge, you made everything. I don't think we need to kill all the men, women, and children. I think we've made our point. We've taken the city. We've made our point. They understand they're under new management now. We don't have to kill the children.
Are you sure, though? Because, I mean, we're here. Sure. We're already here. So, I mean, shit. We might as well kill all the women who've known a man and keep the young girls for ourselves. I mean, we might as well.
We've got all these bronze weapons. I mean, they do take a long time to hack through flesh, but it's the sharpest thing that we got, and we sharpened them pretty good. I mean, we shouldn't let them go to waste. We should probably chop some children up.
I got an idea. Since we're keeping these young virgin girls, I was thinking, you know what might be useful is the cattle. Nope, kill them too, because they're disgusting. Those cattle are disgusting because they lived here with all these horrible people. Well, so did these little girls. Well, no. We keep the little girls.
So don't be crazy. Don't be crazy, Kyle.
I gotta stop. This shit is ridiculous. It's stupid. It's so stupid.
Bad. Humans are bad. Snat Geo all over again.
I just live here. Earth.
Yeah, humans are terrible, and they always have been. They always have been. So, planet-wide spiritual evolution, metaphysics, or we're fucked again. It's just what it is. If you got another alternative, if you have a system, if you have a structure that you've written down on a piece of paper, you figured out how to call your friends comrades, it's got an ism after it, please show me how the corrupt nature of the human genome doesn't fuck that in less than a year. I'd love to see you lay it out and show me how you circumvent human corruption. That's the key right there. Because it all sounds great. The communism, the ism, the socialism, the capitalism, it all sounds awesome just on paper. But once you add the multiplier that is the human element, to me, it just always and forever goes to shit. If all we have is us in our current configuration, metaphysics, we're fucked. And like I said, I'm always open, for especially, well, when I say I mean our Yakubian friend here is always open for debate. I will probably dismiss and ignore you at first. I'll listen to the conversation that he has with you. I'll listen to the points, and I'll definitely listen. But I'm not going to personally be the one that debates with you because I've already decided metaphysics are fucked. But other than that,
I'll be there.
Yeah, we'll listen. I'll definitely listen. But
I'll get a couple laughs in.
Oh, I'm going to be laughing the entire time. That's just how that goes. But it just, there's no surprise here. We've discovered it. We've been standing on it for a long time, and nobody's been able to successfully move me off that square yet, and I don't think it's going to happen. So that's why I'm practicing my evolution. Speaking of which, we have a ceremony coming up here on the fall equinox, which is the 21st. The equinox is the day when the day and the night are equally, they both last the exact same amount of time. Every day after that, it leans more towards the night. Before that, the days are longer, all that good shit. So the equinox is just one of those days that people they figured out, and they've been recognizing for a long time for a lot of different reasons. Some people did psychedelic ceremonies and danced naked under the trees. Other people chopped motherfuckers' heads off and rolled them down a flight of stairs. It just, humans doing what humans do.
Cultures are different.
Yeah, let's not, we don't want to be insensitive to the head choppers, but, it's just different. I'm not saying it's bad, it's just different. What are you going to do different when it hasn't been raining for a couple months and the crops might not come in? You got to start fucking killing
some heads off.
Kill some virgins, bro. I mean, fuck. What do you expect us to do?
The blood to make the seeds grow.
I'm going to need that maize to come in. If not, we got to kill these fucking virgins, bro. That's what it is.
Yeah, we do.
But I definitely appreciate you fellas. I'm going to wrap it up and find me some grub and work on some more art for today. I've been recording a lot of art and creating some new content. So the link, of course, to the website is always in the description of the video. Sweetco.art, SWTKO.art. And also Sweetco Art Collective has a YouTube channel. Maybe I'll put that one in the description too. We've been just making more content. So if y'all have the time and the energy, just go over there and check some of it out. Visit the store. Give us some feedback. Let us know if you'd like to see some other color variations of some designs. You know, I'm open for feedback. So holla at your boy and we'll see what we can work out. But we out here. We out here in the creative space. Now, y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. And I'm sure we'll be linking up soon to flesh out some more of this stuff. We got the Aqua Repay commercial under construction at the moment. Maybe I should dig that one back up too, just as an accompaniment to the infomercial, just so people can experience the inception of the Aqua Repay. I'll dig that
Beautiful.
one up. Okay. And also, if y'all got any suggestions moving forward too, I know everybody don't have a lot of spare time, but if you do have any time to scan back through old episodes, if there's anything you want me to grab onto, definitely shoot me a message or, you know, tag me or something like that. And I'll get it chopped up and delivered to the people. Shout out to all the new subscribers. We got a bunch of new subscribers. I guess a lot of people agree with us that Fast and Furious has crossed the Rubicon of absurdity. That brought in a lot of people. I think people appreciated that take. So shout out to the new subscribers. I hope y'all stick around and continue listening to the Cult of Dangerous Gentlemen, man. Eventually we'll be inviting y'all to the compound for a sacred ceremony too. So until then, take care, and metaphysics or we fucked as usual.
Dola, gentlemen, Dola indeed.
Bless up. I'll talk to y'all soon.
Peace.
Metaphysics is going to have to be the quote-unquote religion of tomorrow. If it isn't, you're fucked. Totally and absolutely. Tomorrow.